everyone. Welcome. It's Traci from Downward Dog Rising, and I want to go over a couple pointers for when you're doing Pilates. So, I want you to do Pilates correctly, and I want to make sure that you're not pushing your abdominals out, and I want you to feel the difference and how it feels when you're really connected in your core. So I just want you to lie down on the mat for a second and just breathe, and then feel how your abdominals move out and then pull in. And then you're going to emphasize pulling your abdominal wall into the spine. We never force our low back into the mat. That means you're externally putting force to get your back in neutral, and that's not how it's done. So let's lie down on the mat, and everybody has a different degree of spinal curvature, and the human spine, it's built the same way with varying degrees of curves. So we have a lordotic curve in the bottom, meaning it goes in. Then we have a kyphotic curve in the center, meaning it goes out. And then we have a third lordotic curve at the top, meaning it goes in. And it could have different deviations of degrees of how much those curves are. And then on top of that, you could have twisting, which is scoliosis, that can affect anywhere in the spine. So we want to get our spine to elongate when we're lying down. And any type of flexion, meaning you peel up and over. A lot of people initiate from their head, their neck, or their chin. That's not where it starts from. Like, think about your spine has two ends, and whenever you go to move, part of it somewhere has to stabilize so the other part can move. So if you don't go by that principle, it's going to be really hard to effectively move fluidly, smoothly, without hurting yourself. So let's come down to the mat. Maybe you'll just take your hands behind your thighs and then just feel like you can pull your abdominals in. We never push them out. That's the key. You have to pull them in, and when you pull them in, you elongate. You make room in between the vertebrae. So next, you're just going to have your legs bend and just like be comfortable. Now, if you place your hands below your navel, and then I just want you to take a second, take a deep inhale. Okay, your ribs are going to push out. Your chest is going to rise. If you breathe into your belly, like in yoga, your belly expands. But Pilates is different than yoga because not only do we expand our ribs, we use our true breathing muscle, our diaphragm, that dome-shaped muscle where we have the intra-abdominal pressure increase between the thorax, the abdomen, and then that when you inhale, there's a pressure gradient. And so that diaphragm can move to allow air to go into the lungs because of the pressure gradient, and then it releases so the air can come back out of the lungs. So what I want you to do, just stay on your mat for 2 seconds and just feel the top of your head lengthen away from your tailbone for a second, and just maximize the entire length of your spine. So you've done that. Okay, so now I want you to breathe so that you breathe three-dimensionally, which is deep diaphragmatic breathing. I want you to inhale to the point where it's not just your chest, shallow. Like if you're stressed out, it's just shallow, breathing up here. You want to go deeper so your ribs expand in all directions. And now I want you to feel the back of your rib cage widen on the mat underneath your body. So you're going to, chest rises, ribs expand, the back of the ribs expand like a fan. Now you let the air back out, so the chest has to fall. Hopefully you can release there. And then you're going to feel the ribs pull down around together, and then feel elongation in your low back. And now what I want you to do, after your ribs inflate, expand, the lungs inflate, the ribs expand, you're going to use your body anatomically. Exhale, and then you want to get the air out. You exhale. Feel like you can pull the ribs down and together in front. Then from the pubic bone to the navel, as the two ribs wrap and pull around together in the front, that is when you start to go into a really deep connection into the pelvic floor. Both men and women have a pelvic floor. So what you want to feel is a lengthening, a lifting sensation from pubic bone to navel, and it zips up under the front of the ribs as the ribs pull around and together, knitting together in front. That is what gets the low back to pull down and lengthen into the mat. And so you never want to just lie on your mat. All right, I'm doing Pilates, and I'm going to push my back into the mat. Just because you push your back down into the mat does not mean that your core is engaged or you're in your core. It just means you're pushing your back into the mat. So you want to relax, you want to breathe, and then intentionally elongate, pull inward, and then lengthen, zip up. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. When the ribs connect, you're going to feel more areas through the lumbar spine, the low back, make a connection into the mat. And then as I scooped in to the length of the spine, my whole entire back right now is on the mat. And I'm normally really protruding forward. This is how I stand. My ribs go forward, I jump my rib cage out. I try not to, but it is what it is because I have tight hip flexors from being a runner. So essentially, when you relax into the mat, your entire spine lengthens. You use the breath. You breathe in. You feel the expansion. You even feel the back of the ribs start to widen into the mat. And then you connect inward and you have to tighten. As the exhalation is coming out, you're pulling, you're drawing in, and you're lengthening. Pelvic floor lifts, the ribs wrap. So now that all of that stuff just happened, you're in your core now. You're gonna feel warmth from your center out. The spine is totally lengthened into the mat from your head to your tailbone. Now I'm gonna teach you. In Joseph Pilates' time, there were no computers that people sat at all day long at work. So in Joseph's time, movement was something that was necessary. And so all the beginnings of the work are flexing the spine forward. Well, we're sitting all day long at a computer flexing our spine forward. So we want to learn how to do more extension in our programs. But not only that, if you are going to flex, it has nothing to do with lifting your head, sticking your chin forward, and compressing, and then pushing your abs out. We're shortening our spine, and we're scrunching things together. So if you are going to choose to do flexion, and then I do it when I want to really get deep into the center, and I do it with length in mind, and I think about everything I'm doing before I actually do it. So let's do a little thing called a head float to get you in your core. Your hands interlace behind your head and your neck, and then you never lift up your head. It weighs 8 to 10 pounds. You're not going to like squeeze your elbows and pull your neck chin forward. We want to keep our elbows sideways, and then it's going to give you an open, spacious feeling across the front of your collarbones, and then maybe interlace the fingers, take your thumbs, put them right under the ears, and try, like if you have had a massage, and they go behind you and they stick their hands under your head and they just kind of give a lengthening. You can even do it to yourself. Interlace the fingers behind the head, behind the skull. Your thumbs go under the earlobes, and you just do, you're not doing anything radical or major. Just give yourself a little length, a little length, a little pull, and just feel like you're tractioning out your own neck. You lengthen, thumbs are under the earlobes, you just give a little straight pull back, and then release. 2 more. Just pull back, elongate the neck, last one. Just becoming conscious of creating the length in your spine first. Okay, now we're ready to interlace fingers behind the head. Press your elbows far and wide. Head lengthens away from tailbone. You inhale, you lengthen head away from tailbone. And feel how nice that feels. You just inhale, the head lengthens away. So you're stretching the top of the spine away from the bottom of your spine. As you feel your chest, your shoulders open. One more time, inhale, exhale. And then there's no reason you don't do forward flexion with osteoporosis, because you already have an exaggerated curve flexing, pulling your spine forward, and you don't want to have tiny fissures and breaks and fractures in your vertebra in your back. The bone is soft, so you don't want to pull and put more stress and pressure on it pulling forward, because you don't want to stress fracture it and break it. So what I want you to do, so you wouldn't do this with osteoporosis. You stretch long, you inhale, you start to pull in from pubic bone to navel, engage the core, elongate the low back. Then what you would do, you would float your head and neck up. So actually you could do a head float with osteoporosis. You just lift up, you're not curling your spine, just lift up your head and then strengthen your neck. So you would inhale, now tighten from pubic bone to navel, hover the head off the mat, but your elbows are wide. You're already engaging your core and you're scooping in deeply. This will strengthen your core without flexing. So just lift up, it's not a far amount, and then lower down. Make sure when you lift, you don't push the abdominal wall out. It needs to come down and in so that you feel the length of the low back on the mat. So even if you have hyperlordosis and a big curve, like a big arch in your low back, it should feel like it's pretty close to the mat right now. Do 4 more, float up, and then lower down. 3, float up, elbows stay wide, lower down. 2. So that's your core engagement. And now ask yourself, when you're doing Pilates, do you feel that type of core engagement? That's what you need to feel, and you're gonna get really strong from your center. So you did that. Okay, so now that's safe for osteoporosis. The next one isn't. So you're not gonna do this with osteoporosis. The ends of the spine pull apart, head away from tailbone, engage the core, draw in, lengthen up. Now, if you're going to start to flex and curl your spine off the mat, what do? You stabilize the lumbar spine, the hips stay still, the pelvis stays still, you scoop in, you elongate. Now think of curling, elongating over the breastbone, maximal length, and then you come back to the mat. So it's like you're elongating, then you lift. You still have a little space. The chin isn't totally down in the chest. It's lifted, it comes forward slightly, but not all the way down. It doesn't smash forward. So you exhale. When you do it right, the voice will change. Like you inhale, exhale. My voice starts to shake as the deep abdominals, they start to quiver. Inhale, exhale. Breathing in, exhale. You scoop in. 3 more. Exhale, so you keep elongating. Your shoulders stay away from the ears, and your chest is wide open. Last one. Inhale, exhale. Now take your arms down. Now, are you keeping the maximal length in the spine? Are the collarbones wide? And then you drop the edges of your shoulder blades down deeper into your back, into your lats. And then the low back is lengthening into the mat. So feel that. Now squeeze your thighs together. Now if you were to pump your arms for hundreds, feel the core integrated, the length. I'm not going to have you lift the legs, just work on the ribs connecting. You breathe in, and then you exhale, scoop deeper. Avoid pushing your abs out. And then you exhale. Inhale. And then you exhale. Pull this area in. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Pull that area in. Inhale. Exhale. Keep maximal length. Inhale. Exhale. 3 more sets. Breathe in. Exhale. 2 more sets. Breathe in. Exhale. Pull those muscles in. 1 more set. Inhale. And exhale. All right. You're going to feel like a lot of work was just done through this whole area. And that's how you know you're really deep into your core. All right. Now I'm going to have you do a little stretch to counter what you just did through the front of the shoulders, the neck. So if I were to go into wheel back bend, I'm not going to do it right now, but if you're going to go into a wheel, a prep you could do, your hands come right next to your ears, your elbows would go straight to the sky, you would press into your palms and just lift that middle back between the shoulder blades. Lift it off the mat, no weight in the head, the weight's in your palms, and come back down. 4 more. Push into the palms, lift the mid back, tighten, core in, release. Now just feel how you're getting that middle back thoracic spine opening up. Come back in 2 more times. Open up that thoracic spine. The weight's in the palms. It's not all in the head. Come back and 1 more time. Exhale. Lift. Gently come in. Now just reach under the knees or in over the shins, whichever you prefer, and keep that low back against the mat. Breathe in and then breathe out. 2 more. Breathe into the space, mid-back. Exhale. And then 1 more time, breathe in. And then exhale. So if you have osteoporosis, take your hands to the sides of your hips and pelvis. Stabilize lumbar spine. And then you're going to lift the knees tabletop. And then when we do single leg stretch, you're going to keep the back connecting into the mat by scooping your core tight. And you're going to work on really stretching the front of the hip long, the abdominal scoop in, lift up, and you're making sure you don't arch your back off the mat. So maybe you would do single leg stretch like this. Your hands are under the hips, your chest is open, you're inhaling and you're exhaling. You're making sure you're not straining the low back and you're reaching one leg out of your center at a time. Breathing in, breathing out, you're stabilizing your spine. So that's with osteoporosis. So then if you were to take your hand towards the inner part of the knee, take the other hand to the outer part of your ankle, and you're going to keep your shoulder, the knee, the hip in alignment, and then you're going to take this other leg out. Now just think of elongating from the tailbone, peeling up, collarbones wide, and then you hug in as the other leg stretches out. I'm going to get a cramp. Ow, I ran today. I need more. Ooh, I need more electrolytes or salt. Pull in, stretch out, stretch out, pull in, stretch out, scoop in. Shoulders are away from the ears. Make sure you're not pushing your abs out. Pull them in, lift them up. Inhale, exhale. Breathe in, exhale, scoop in. Maybe go 1, 2, and then go 3, 4. Pump, inhale, 3, 4. Drop those shoulders. Inhale for 2, exhale for 2. 4 more. Inhale for 2, exhale for 2. 3 more. Inhale for 2. Pull in, reach out, exhale. Last one. Inhale. Now exhale. And come on in. Good. Rock side to side. Now, if you have your knees tabletop, you have your arms straight above your shoulders. See how it feels to tighten the 2 hip bones straight across. Now, can you bring your feet to the mat without arching the back? Plug your arm bones deeper into the shoulder socket. Blades anchor down your back, and think of a weight pulling your abdominals through into the floor. So you're going to reach back, pull apart, exhale, come back together. So keep your back from arching. Scoop your core tight, plug arms into back, exhale. So we're working with intention, head away from tailbone. Breathe in, exhale. How far back do your arms go? It depends. Are the tops of your shoulders staying down and back? Tap and lift. Tighten core to spine. Tap and lift. 3 more. Tap. Back is on the mat. Exhale. Lift. 2 more. Tap. Lift. 1 more. Tap. Lift. And come in. Good job. Now, if you were to take your legs at a little higher diagonal, if you ever feel your pelvis, your hip bones roll forward like that, that means there's not enough stability in the low part of the spine to support you. The core needs to get stronger to keep the hips from pulling forward like that. So then you could spot yourself, take your hand under the side of your hip. You don't have to be on the center, just slide the hands under the edges of your hips. Then you would lift the legs up, and then you would elongate with intention without pushing your abs up and out. Pull them in. How low can you reach the legs without the back lifting off the mat? And then you can work on the knees are bent, the legs reach long, core is strong, come back in. The furthest point when your legs reach out, your abdominals should be scooping so deeply into your spine that your back never, ow, I'm getting a cramp again. The back doesn't leave the mat. Ow! Woo! That sucks when you cramp that hard. Okay, hold on. All right, so next we'll do this. If you feel like if you reach your legs low and it lifts your back, that means lift the legs higher. And then once you feel secure, you can take your arms over your head without arching the back, circle, getting the air out of the lungs. Make sure you pull your core tight to your back. And then sometimes I'll see straight out, straight in. Try it, straight out, straight in. But if you want to get a good, better connection into your shoulder girdle, notice what happens If you go out, swing around, shoulder blades down your back, and then you hug in. So you could do this osteoporosis, head stays down, scoop in, reach apart, exhale, come back. Inhale, exhale. You can modify by keeping knees right over the hips if you don't want to come further. Inhale, exhale. Now, if you do it when you rise up, you would scoop in, think of stabilizing at the bottom, and then you would reach, expel the air out of the lungs. You have to really scoop in, keep the back from arching off the mat. Inhale, exhale, 3, reach, exhale, 2, inhale, exhale, last one, inhale, exhale. Awesome. Your abdominals should feel like they're working and they should feel tired. So then I'm going to give you something to strengthen your low back, stabilize hips. We'll get our middle back extension, even it out, and then we're going to call it a day. I just wanted you to get deep into your core and then notice the difference between your intention of lengthening, deepening, and how it makes a difference. You work harder and you don't have to go fast. You don't have to do tons of exercises in a row. You're just connected. So now if you have your feet hip width apart, your chest is open, and then if you feel like you pushed your ribs up, I immediately push my ribs up. So I have to use my breath and I have to find where's neutral. Soften, air, exhale, ribs knit down together. Middle back is on the mat. Low back is on the mat. Now even before I start, I push into all 4 corners of my feet and I start to turn on my glutes. I'm not letting my legs knock in. I'm not letting them fall. The shoulders, hips, knees, ankles are aligned, and I start to elevate the hips as I reach through the front of, ow, I'm getting a cramp in my hamstring. Reach through the front of the thighs, engage your glutes. So you're making sure you don't arch your back and then just come straight down. So from here, connect into the low back, pull through and lower your pelvis down. And then you're just gonna go straight up, press, stretch tailbone long, and then come straight down. I'm pointing to where those muscles have to pull through. 3 more, lift. Squeeze your glutes, zip up, chest open, and come straight down. 2 more. Work your glutes, come straight down. And 1 more time. And lower down, awesome. Just take 1 leg in, release your back. Other side, lengthen it out. Feel how it stretches through the front of your hip and thigh. Now you're gonna release this leg down. Now turn over. And then what I want you to do here, careful that you don't scrunch. So your elbows are gonna come directly in line under the shoulders. And then I want you to push down into your palms, into your forearms. And then I want you to feel like your glutes are working a little bit. They're engaged. You're scooping from pubic bone to navel, but now you're facing the mat. So it's different. It's a little harder to feel because you have to lift against gravity. Now I want you to widen your collarbones straight across. The 2 collarbones widen, the shoulders drop away from ears, and we're not going to push our head back and compress the back of the neck, and we're not going to drop our chin all the way down. So you're just going to tilt the chin a little bit forward until you feel the sides of your neck lengthen. So I want you to feel head, neck, shoulders. I want you to feel the sides of the neck lengthen. And just stay here, press into your forearms, press into your elbows, the forearms, and think of opening wide across the front of your shoulders and your chest. You want to feel like your collarbones keep spreading wider. There's spaciousness across your chest right now as the shoulders stay down and back. We're creating some space for your vertebra in between each vertebra. From sitting at the computer and from the flexion we just did, if you did flexion, we're just trying to open up the space again. Inhale, exhale, and breathe in, and then exhale. Strengthen your back, strengthen your core. 3 more times, deep inhale. So we're actually doing a little Sphinx in yoga, or low cobra bhujangasana in yoga. Inhale, exhale 2 more times, breathing in, breathing out. And last one. Now we're going to come down towards our mat, and then we're going to do something to strengthen our thoracic spine. So I'm not going to have you go up too high. We're going to keep your mid-back thoracic spine right in between your 2 shoulder blades. We're almost done. Pull your shoulders down away from the air so you're not hiking. Your palms are going to come under the shoulders. Keep the width, the openness across the front of your collarbones. And then I want you to just kind of push down into the palms, tighten the core, push down into the mat, elevate up. Now make sure you're not pinching or squeezing your shoulder blades together. Feel like you still have a little space in between them, but you still want to be able to pull your elbows back without compressing the blades together. So find where you can pull your elbows in, but still open a space in the middle of your back. Scoop your core tight, elevate, and then come back down. Pull your heart through, forward, open heart, inhale, exhale, lower down, use your core. Now, are your abdominals falling outward, or are you pulling them in and still lifting them up against gravity into your back? You want to have support, so you're pulling your abdominals in away from the mat. Connect inward and feel how you have length going all the way up to the top of your head. 3 more. Pull those abdominals in. You can work your glutes too. And inhale. Tighten your core. Exhale. If it's too hard to lift on the inhale, go ahead and exhale just to get the core connection. Exhale to get the core connection. It's harder to lift on your inhale. Last one. Exhale. Come back in. All right. Now let's just do a rest pose and release our spine. Press into your palms. Now shoulders are down and back, and you just elevate straight up. Ow, I got a cramp again. Oh, ow, I'm cramping. My hamstrings are cramping big time today. Okay. Then we're going to sit back, hips over heels. Usually I'll sit on my feet. Let me see how that feels. Pull your heart through the arms. Now I want you to see if you can get this part of the back to really stretch, lengthen it. Sits bones pull behind you. So I'm trying not to have a little divot, little arch in the back. I'm trying to keep that lengthened as I pull my heart towards the mat. And just feel like oppositional energy pulling you into 2 different directions. And again, do your 3-dimensional breathing. Let your ribs expand all 3 directions. Create a little space between the rib cage and the pelvis. You can actually feel space open as you keep the hips straight. Feel like you're opening a little distance between the back of the ribs and the back of the pelvis. Inhale. Exhale. Relax your head, neck, shoulders. Maybe you put a yoga block under the forehead, or maybe you just let your forehead come closer to the mat, whatever works for you. Inhale, tailbone long, sits bones pull back behind you. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. Now take your feet, if they're up, and let the tops of the feet rest on the mat. Now maybe you'll just take both of your arms, collarbones open wide, stretch the arms down by your sides, relax shoulders out of ears, the sides of the neck stretch long, and just take a few moments and just breathe here. Inhaling and exhaling, keeping the length in your spine. Try to fill up the space that's between each rib. Think of filling it up with air to increase the space and create length for your spine. And then you exhale. 2 more times. Deep inhale. Exhale. 1 more time. Deep inhale. And exhale. All right. Slowly walk your hands under the shoulders, shoulders down out of ears. Now stretch top the head away from tailbone as you press palms against the mat so you rise up. Now I'm just going to have you do a deep inhale, open heart, and then just exhale as the arms come back down. Do a tiny little bit of an extension here. Stabilize low back, lumbar spine, front ribs meet back ribs, tighten the core, but then you're rising up the spine, and then just lift your heart through the arms. Get that little bit of extension right through the middle of your back. 1 more. And then exhale, collarbones are wide. Awesome. And then I'm just gonna have you crisscross your ankles. Roll your shoulders up and back away from your ears. Release. Pop, crack. 3. Release. 2 more. So hopefully you have a deeper understanding of what it entails to go really deep into your core and to breathe from the diaphragm, your true respiratory muscle. You take out all the accessory muscles that get overworked in the shoulders and the neck. So part of our being tight in shoulders and neck is we're not breathing optimally. 3 more. And stress has a big impact on our bodies. If you breathe shallow, it's a lot of times it's totally stress related, and you don't even realize it until someone calls attention to it. 1 more time, shoulders lift, roll them down and back. Maybe tilt chin a little bit forward and just roll to one shoulder. Hold for a moment. Just breathe. Relax, release, and then tilt slowly down. Always pay attention to how your body feels. If it feels tight or pain, you back out of it. And if you have anything fused in your spine, you have to be very careful how you move your body, because you never want to pull the fused part of the spine apart. So know what your limitations are. 2 more. Sides and neck lengthen. And last one. Come back center and just feel how the collarbones open wide. You sink down into the bottom of your pelvis. The front ribs meet the back ribs, so you're really in neutral. And then just bring your hands to your heart. Just feeling grateful for having some time to put it into yourselves right here, right now, in this moment. So I thank you for joining me. Appreciate you for watching. And if you like my content, it helps me grow if you like or subscribe. So I thank you so much if you can help me. Thank you. Peace, and I'll see you again soon. And YouTube has something new. I have to read and figure out what to do and how to do it. I just forgot what it said. I read an email. So I have to see if I can figure it out. It says to go to YouTube Studio, and you could create like a hangout spot where it's more than just making a comment after a video. Like it's a space so that if you like the videos and you want to connect and have a dialogue conversation, you could talk to me, you could talk to other people that have watched the video and just have like a discussion. So if there's a question about the video, you can ask and then have a discussion on types of body types or what you're feeling. So I thought that was pretty cool. I have to figure it out. So I'll take some time when I can and look into that so I can open up that portal. Yay! All right, bye everyone. Take care. Peace. See you soon. Bye.